over a timeline of my gang stalking, targeting, human secret experimentation by these research groups. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what's going on until proven otherwise. So I want to briefly go over a timeline and how things felt. So 2018 to 2019, I went through a period of what I believe was artificially induced psychosis, mental illness type of clairvoyance. So, I was acting normal in real life, and I first started learning about the gang stalking program. First, I learned about Freemasonry, which I felt like opened a portal. So we'll start there. In 2017, I learned about the Freemason, and the information I learned was groundbreaking, and the information I researched. Then I fell into the gang stalking algorithm on YouTube, and after that, I went to a state of kind of this shell shock psychosis state where my brain was going into imagination land and think of all these new crazy concepts. There was a clairvoyant stage where it basically felt like a supercomputer was connecting to me in this stage. And there was no drones at this stage because I was paying attention to the skies. There was none, not any commercial drones, and there wasn't any satellite hooked up to me or anything like that. So I'll give you an example. Basically, like, I had this thought, like, I'm driving, I'm working, and I have this thought, when I grow up or when I get older, I'm gonna have a kid, I'm gonna name him Bronco. Weird thought, right? That's not my thought. It's like a V2K thought. So I log in instantaneously to CNN.com because it was one of the websites I check out when I'm bored. This is back in 2017, 18. And it said Tim Tebow's dog, Bronco, just died. So this is the stage where this has never happened before, where, you can claim I'm mentally ill at this stage. Okay, I mean, I'm definitely way better now, way more clear-headed now. And I was getting this clairvoyance, V2K stuff of predicting stuff that is real, that's gonna happen in front of me, like that type of stuff. And I started looking for gang stalking, but I wasn't seeing it yet. I was seeing these little patterns, but I wasn't being gang stalked yet. This is from 2017, 18. Now, 2019, I work a job, and I believe this job is the inception point of the gang stalking, the actual targeting. We're not going to go into it. There's a honeypot at the job. She stays at my house for 2 weeks. This is a young, like 19, 20-year-old girl at a restaurant, and like pretty attractive woman and stuff. And we're laying in bed. I wake up one day, and there's an antenna sticking out of my head. That's like a white person's hair. Like, mind you, I have black people hair, matted black people hair. And there's a white human's hair sticking out my head. Okay? This is, I believe, is a brain implant that she put in when I was sleeping. Okay? Her dad was part of the military, and there's a lot of military involvement at this stage. At this stage, this is the first time I see the drone. I have a drone that's hooked up to me every night. You can see it through like clouds and shit. It's an absolute drone. It mimics Jupiter, and it aligns with me everywhere I go. I move around, so I've been to different states, facing different directions, jobs, and there's always the big bright Jupiter drone, and then they also have, in North Carolina, the twinkling red, white, and blue police government drones that fucking surveil me. Those are, I believe, for everybody, and they like activate it for me. But the actual experimentation drone is synced up, and it's a big bright light. I can show anybody. You can meet me anywhere, and that shit will be out in the sky. Okay, plain as day. So it's some type of government military drone. I did stop getting the V2K kind of clairvoyance and stuff at that point. And at the honeypot satellite point, that's the real beginning of my targeting, I believe, officially, when I saw that implant and that satellite was hooked up. I mean, there's stuff going on before that, but it wasn't going on much before that, okay? So V2K, like that weird predictive stuff, stopped for a long time. At this point, I moved, like nothing's going on Gangstalking wise. Okay, so there's a long period. I moved to North Carolina, and nothing happens within the first month. And I buy weed off this guy at my job, and then I see the drone, the police, red, white, and blue drones that are in North Carolina. It just starts following me from there, right? So that goes on for, at this point, I don't have that bright satellite drone. That's disappeared. I don't see that in North Carolina for the first year. But that's back. It shows up back. Because my targeting comes in a different, this is like stage 2 of the targeting. Before that, there was no gang stalking really. So I first moved, the first thing I see is EMF license plates. And I'm looking at gang stalking videos, and people are talking a lot about EMF. Almost all the TIs I watch are talking about EMF, okay? I don't really like get that, and I don't understand it. And they're talking about directed energy. Now, that starts happening a little bit later here for me, right? So I see EMF license plates, and I don't think that's gang stalking, but it's just showing you that there's some patterns being started here. The next license plate I see is EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and EMF. Okay, so that stops for a long time, right? So the next thing that's gonna happen as far as targeting wise is nothing. Okay, nothing's happening for the first year in North Carolina. Well, actually, when I move into my apartment, I'm sorry, there is things happening. I was talking about the vehicles and things like that, like license plates. So within 3 months, I get an apartment, and I notice one of the North Carolina base drones sticking out my window, but it looks very discreet. It looks like a star. You can barely tell. Like I'm like, I think this is a drone, but I couldn't tell until I could magnify it, right? So then I start getting the apartment break-ins. Now people are fucking with shit with my apartment, trying to gaslight me. This is the very beginning of the gang stalking. They're destroying all of my property, putting holes in my socks, pulling strings out my shirt, destroying like valuable things in my house, like disabling valuable electronics, blacking out phones, black screen of deathing iPhones. Just a very aggressive beginning stages kitchen sink targeting. I'm hearing noise campaigns. I think everything's gang stalking. There's a fucking siren outside my window that's just going off, like a police car with a siren that's like no lights on. It's just a noise campaign. And you can just tell like they're just fucking around and shit. I'm really paranoid and suspicious of everything. And there's a few people in my neighborhood gang stalking me, but overall, outside of that neighborhood, 2 people gang stalking me, nothing was happening. Now down the line, Targeted Tony comes along. He starts bringing up one headlights. Now one headlights, I'm getting thousands of one headlights in the daytime. I'm talking about if I sit on a corner for 8 hours, I'm not kidding that I will see 1,000 one headlights magnetize and come to my direction. So that is part of some type of programming. I don't know what it means, whether the headlights are knocked out by the target with sensors or people. I do believe people were being paid to gang stalk heavily at this time. So I'm starting to get the KEK license plates. KEK is LOL. It's a meaningful thing. So I'm getting pattern license plates from different states, 666 license plates, all type of fucking black helicopters are fucking chasing me and shit. Not every single day, but often enough to be like, wow, like a lot of places like parks and shit, big ass black Apache helicopters come and do training missions everywhere you go. And still getting the break-ins. I'm getting vandalism. Laptops are being destroyed. You know, when headlights dying down, it's more focused on the license plating. Like I'll be at a hotel and there'll be a Keck license plate next to a 666 license plate. That is not, all of that is by design. Also, license plates are being there's like algorithms for license plates for you to see them when you drive. Okay, like it's absolutely a computer algorithm for you to manipulate you by seeing license plates. Like this has to do with mental health and experimentation and shit. And these people, to this day, these algorithm license plates will show up at places I'm at work, and it clearly is people being paid to do that. So the people being paid to do these license plates, they're from brain research and development teams, neuro teams, and government research projects. And basically, you're a guinea pig, and this is experimentation. And they want you to look at gang stalking videos. So once the experimentation is done, you crash out. There's no evidence, and they get to see how to make people crash out. But yeah, that's the timeline of my gang stalking in a gist. So just to recap, the beginning period was kind of a mental brain-computer interface transition period from normal life, whatever, you have your own issues, to you're hooked up to a quantum computer remotely. Then you get introduced into a honeypot. You get who microchips you to have you hooked up to a satellite 24 hours a day. And I believe the satellite's controlling your life, and like that's how they can see through walls and see through your eyes or whatever, right? It's through a satellite. And you're presented disinformation through gang stalking, so you don't think it's experimentation. You think it's the police. You think it's your neighbor. You think it's this. You think it's that. Then you get license plate patterns, so reality's manipulated around you. And then you get the break-ins to your house, and that's again to drive you to the gang stalking YouTube videos. Because the first thing you're going to do is look in, why are people breaking in my house? Why are people putting glue on my refrigerator? Why are holes in my shirt? And it all leads to gang stalking, which takes away from the human experimentation part. So that's my recap, and that's my timeline on gang stalking.